Hello and welcome to the new Rolls-Royce Ghost. My name is Andy McCann from Rolls-Royce Motor Cars in Goodwood. It's my pleasure to introduce you to our wonderful new creation based on our legendary architecture of luxury. So we're going to start by looking at the side profile of the car, and if you notice, the car is incredibly clean and beautiful in its simplicity. And that simplicity is very, very difficult to achieve. And we're going to start off with three key designs that you've just seen on the screen. So we're going to start with the silhouette of the car that runs up here and across the top of the car and gently tapers throughout the back of the car here. That's the top silhouette, followed by this shoulder line that you can see is beautifully enhanced by this hand-painted line on the side of the car, and then at the bottom of the car you can see this waft line that follows on. There are three key design lines, and let's introduce you to the front of the car. We've got some very, very clean lines. You can see that we have these vertical lines. And we take a lot of our designing from modern architecture or even super yacht design, that you'll see these strong vertical lines and this horizontal piece blending beautifully into our famous Rolls-Royce grille. Now, of course, this is polished steel. For the first time ever, we have an illuminated grille. The level of detail that Rolls-Royce have gone into, the engineers, they've actually polished one side of the lamella, and the other side of the lamella is actually brushed and shot blasted, so it reduces the amount of light within this. It gives a wonderful warm glow. And our Spirit of Ecstasy, she is now surrounded in this wonderful single piece of steel. It's like being in a metal lake, so there's no shut lines. She's in a single space within the bonnet. That level of detail for the engineers to achieve is quite incredible. So our Spirit of Ecstasy is now gently framed, a little bit like a wonderful painting in an art gallery. When you see an art gallery, and if the walls are busy, it takes your eye away from that wonderful piece of design and that wonderful painting. So she is obviously the heritage within the Rolls-Royce Motor Cars, and she's wonderfully framed in this beautiful exterior. So our new Ghost is the most technologically advanced Rolls-Royce to date. And just a few of those little features. First of all, we have our now famed architecture of luxury, the aluminium chassis that was originally created for our Phantom. And now for the first time on Ghost, we have all-wheel drive and all-wheel steer. So that enables us to have incredible agility at slow speed, but also very, very good stability at higher speed. So obviously, co-steering wheels and counter-steering wheels, depending on which speed that you're traveling at. Interestingly, the car will also lower itself at high speed. So above 140 kilometers an hour, the car will automatically lower to improve those aerodynamics. So for the first time in a Rolls-Royce, in fact any Rolls-Royce, we have the Planar system. It's a patented system. It's difficult to see on the camera, but up inside on the top of the suspension system is, I can only describe it as a damper on top of the damper. So any excess shocks that would possibly be connected to the chassis of the car are removed. So it gives you a wonderfully smooth ride. However, it's a mechanical device, it's not artificial, so you've still got a wonderful connection with the road. So our suspension system, combined with the flag bearer camera system at the top of the windscreen, the cameras scan the road ahead and calibrate the suspension before you get to the object. So it's a proactive system on the suspension, not a reactive system. This also combined with the satellite aided transmission in the gearbox, where these Gearbox is receiving information from the satellite with your approach speed to a corner. When you come off the accelerator, it will pre-select the gear for you. So satellite aided transmission, flag bearer, and our new suspension planar system add to this wonderful driving experience. So the internal acoustics inside a Rolls-Royce are famous, and we used to say the loudest thing that you can hear inside a Rolls-Royce is the clock. But of course now it's not the clock. The loudest thing could even be the jacket that you're wearing, but it starts from the glass on the outside. So I'm just going to tap this glass, and if you notice, it's quite a soft sound. We have a double laminate glass, and in between the laminates is a much softer acoustic layer to absorb high frequency noises that obviously bounce around inside of the car, and also help to prevent those nasty noises up on the outside of the car getting inside. So here we are inside the car, and a wonderful place it is to be too. When you're driving the Rolls-Royce, it is so quiet on the inside. That actually became a challenge for our engineers. Let me give you a scenario. You're in a quiet room and a fly is buzzing around. That becomes a main point of focus. The fly inside our car was actually the air vents. The air vents, believe it or not, were the noisiest thing inside the car. So we had to re-engineer the shape of the vent and line the tubing with felt to soften the sound. That's the level of detail that the engineers have gone to. We've also added mass dampers to the seats. We've also created, the rear parcel shelf has ports because we identified subconsciously, but we identified noises coming from the trunk or the boot because it's a big space. So we had to put ports within the parcel shelf to balance the sound inside the car. Balancing those frequencies was an incredibly important task. The reason why it was important, the car was so quiet, it created disorientation when we were driving. So if you can imagine running with your hands over your ears, it's a little bit disorientating. So we had to balance the frequencies inside the car to make it a much more natural driving experience. So we talked a little bit about how well insulated the car is, and that obviously gives a wonderful proposition towards listening to some beautiful music. The music and the speakers, we have speakers mounted within the bottom of the sill here. So they are part of the architecture of luxury. And in the headlining, we have additional exciter speakers to amplify high frequency noises. Sitting in here is a real special place, but to listen to music and sit in here and drive this agile car as well is once again very, very special. The Starlight headlining echoes onto our new instrument panel. And if you can see the detailing here, this is not a screen. Making a screen would be easy. This is a veneer. We have 850 individual stars on the veneer. Behind that, we have 90,000 perforations to explode the light. So you can see this is truly the stars on the fascia. It really is a wonderful place to look at. So we've spoken a little bit about how quiet the car is and how beautiful simplicity the design is, but we haven't mentioned the agility. Agility in Rolls-Royce is not something that you would normally put in the same sentence. This car is incredibly agile. We have the most advanced suspension system, the best engines that we can find at present, and it truly is such a spirited car to drive. So our customers that are stepping out of their sports cars into their Rolls-Royce Ghost will really have a smile on their face at the end of their drive. Thank you very much.